Ago TV, on a penya nyama papa. Ago TV, Ago TV, Ago TV, in sympathy.
Harvest and prosperity. Give our chiefs and queen mothers the ability to take care of our people and to sustain our rules and traditions so that we do not forget who we are. Grant our educational institutions and our teachers the zeal to raise great leaders for now and prosperity in discipline, respect, and in dignity. In your mercy, protect our nation against the outbreak of diseases. We also pray for the Ghana Armed Forces, the police service, and other security services for the protection and defense of our territorial integrity and help us to live in peace with our neighbors in our sub-region and the world. Make us conscious of your gift of our land so that we might not destroy what you have blessed us with. Grant us all the desire and commitment to work hard to improve our economy, our security, and to develop for our own good and for your service. Bind us together in love and give us the spirit of patriotism. Help all manner of persons who have the responsibility to ensure the success of our nation to be committed to their duties in truth, honesty, and faithfulness. O God Almighty, I pray in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord that you always take your place in the affairs of our nation. Above all, bless our homeland Ghana and make us great and strong in all our endeavors. We pray all these in the name of Christ Jesus our Lord. Amen.
Next, we'll have the President inspecting the contingents right here. And the President is the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces.
Good morning, Mr. President. Ghana's first independence anniversary parade program by personnel of the security services and Ghana Education Service. 59 officers, 1,134 men and women drawn from the Ghana Armed Forces, Ghana Police Service, Ghana Prisons Service, Ghana National Fire Service, Customs Division of Ghana Revenue Authority, and Ghana Immigration Service. 768 teachers, students, and pupils drawn from schools within the Accra metropolis. The mass band, comprising the Ghana Armed Forces Central Band and the Police Band, ready for inspection. Kendall Eric Kunadu, reporting, Mr. President.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the parade commander has invited the President to inspect the parade. Inspection of parade is a ceremonial ritual practiced by the military as a mark of respect and honor for dignitaries. And for today, it is for the President of the Republic of Ghana and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The President will be accompanied by his ceremonial ADCs, who are the Chief of the Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Obed Boama Akwa, and the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Asante Apietu. I wish to inform you once again that out at sea in the general area of this Black Star Square, Ghana Navy ships are participating in the parade by conducting maneuvers at sea. Additionally, we shall be witnessing a flypast by the Ghana Air Force in the course of the parade.
President, in the company of the CDS and the Inspector General of Police, Mr. David Asante Pietu, inspecting the contingents at the 61st Independence Day Parade.
Inspection of parades generally affords the commander to assess his personnel on parade, to check their turnout, to check whether they are properly aligned. It also gives him the opportunity to tell the strength of his men and women on parade. It also affords the personnel on parade to properly turn out, because once you know your commander will be inspecting you, you will come there properly turn out. Inspections have become ceremonial, but in the deeper sense, it encourages discipline. Therefore, you come to parade properly turned out and in good health to ensure that you stand throughout the parade. I'm sure everybody would want to see the president march past him or her, and so all will endeavor to stay to the end of the parade. And so parade inspections indirectly inculcate discipline into personnel on parades.
Previously, some former presidents in maybe the last 2 decades or so inspected the parade on foot, and it wasted a lot of time during some of those occasions. Of course, not everybody was trained, especially the students, to stand in the sun for so long a time, and so we had some of them collapsing whilst on the parade grounds, and therefore it became necessary for the introduction of vehicles to inspect the parade, and then it also became necessary for the reduction of the numbers of students who partook in these events. And so that is the history, part of the history behind the inspection of the Guard of Honor at this parade in a vehicle this time.
Exactly. Especially when the parade is large, it is better to be inspected in a vehicle than walking. We have other inspections that can be done on foot. And like you said, to help our children on parade relax, they will be marching past first and take their seats. We do not want many of them falling off, as has been the practice in the past. And so for this particular parade, the school children and the students will march past first and take their seats before the military and the other security services continue with the rest of the parade.
And as we celebrate 61 years of independence, perhaps it's an appropriate time for us to just look back at some of the facts concerning Ghana, and because again many students are watching this event right now, to educate them on some of the things they need to know about Ghana. And we'll start with the name Ghana. Selikem has the etymology, the history behind the word Ghana, and the history behind the name Ghana. How did it all start, Selikem?
Yes, Abdul. Of course, there are 2 schools of thought regarding the etymology of the name Ghana. Now, there is a general contention. That it means warrior king, and was the title of rulers of the ancient and West African Ghana Empire. Ghana also asserts that it is derived from the Arabic word Ghani, which means rich, because the ancient Ghana Empire was wealthy. But in fact, it was J.B. Dankwa who gave our country its name, Ghana, after years of research into the link between the people of the ancient Ghana Empire and the people of the then Gold Coast. Now, geographically, the Ghana Empire was approximately 500 miles northwest of modern Ghana, and it ruled territories in the area of the Senegal River and east towards the Niger River in modern Senegal, Mauritania, and Mali. Now, Ghana was adopted finally as the legal name for the Gold Coast, combined with British Togoland upon gaining autonomy on March 6, 1957, 61 years from today.
The fifth president of the Fourth Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, inspecting the Guard of Honor. And again, just a quick reminder that Ghana has had a certain president pass whilst he was in office, but he has duly been acknowledged at this very event. We've also had another late Vice President, Alhaji Aliyu Mahama, acknowledged here at this very event. Their portraits have been mounted here, and they are very much a part of the celebration, even in death. And we just need to remember them in our prayers, and remember them and their contribution to the growth of Ghana's economy, to the growth of Ghana's democracy, and to the general well-being of the ordinary Ghanaian. Professor John Evans Atta Mills and Alhaji Aliyu Mahama, both of them late, are very much a part of this ceremony. And the president is done inspecting the Guard of Honor. He will now light the perpetual flame. What's the significance of the perpetual flame?
Well, I believe there could be other meanings, but I believe that the perpetual flame is to constantly remind us that that burning desire of our forebears to ensure that we're independent is never quenched. So we need to continue to live that burning desire to ensure that Ghana gets its rightful place in the Committee of Nations. 61 years is a lot, and we need to work as a country to ensure that we can all be proud of Ghana.
And there we have it. And the military helicopter carrying the Ghana flag right there, the GBC drones bringing you all the pictures there. Interesting sights and sounds from the Black Star Square here in Accra. We celebrate 61 years of independence. There are some Ghanaians who believe there's nothing to
ladies and gentlemen,
but there's
as the port under the symbolic Black Star glows,
there's nothing by somebody else, and therefore we have made some gains in the last 61 years. We could do it better, and that's the military helicopter towing the Ghana flag. This is interesting. In military terms, what does it mean?
Well, it's just a display of our independence. We are an independent country. We do not have to depend on anybody, and that is our flag that is flying. And our flag, apart from its literal meaning of the red, gold, green, it's also the spirit of our nation. And so as we celebrate our 61st birthday, it's important to show our flag as a symbol of unity and independence.
Right, the red, yellow, and green.
As adorned in the president's attire, he's beautifully adorned in the Ghana colors.
Exactly. That's so beautiful.
So the president will now assume his seat after inspecting the Guard of Honor mounted by the contingents and school children here. Soon we'll be witnessing a cultural display by some school children. The president, having had a ride in the Crest car, we'll find out and tell you why it's called a Crest car, specially made for such ceremonies. Specially made for such ceremonies, and so this is where some of the military drill will take place again. So,
carry on with the parade, Mr. President.
You know, in the military, before you start something, you have to ask your superior permission to do the thing, and after doing it, you have to also ask permission before you walk off. For you know, he has something to tell you, so you tell him that. In fact, you are indirectly asking permission to walk off, and that is what the parade commander just did.
Okay, so the president will take his seat now as the school children prepare to give us some cultural display. In previous years, we've seen a variety of cultural dances, poetry, recitals. We've seen the takaya and the damba dances. We've seen the adowa, as well as the bobobo, all performed on the stage in different years at different stages. In years past, there were also some karate demonstrations, and we have indications that this year some school children will demonstrate their karate skills. Right after that, we'll have the trooping of the mass band. The mass band will troop. Why do they not join the rest of the contingents to march? Every year I've noticed that it is the mass band that first troops past before all the other contingents march past.
Exactly. Even though they are on the parade, you can tell that they are unique. And so they are given a special opportunity to display their skills. It also affords them the opportunity to rest their limbs. They've been standing there for some time. And then they also have their maze that they use. So that opportunity is given to them to display the use of their maze and also rest their limbs. Apart from that, it also gives them an opportunity to move to an appropriate position so as to give way for the other contingent to march on parade. And so we'll be seeing another trooping very soon.
I just saw that the president is on public display of affection with his wife, the First Lady. That was interesting. He's exchanging pleasantries with the President of Nigeria right now, and just did that with the Vice President and his wife as well. And that was a beautiful sight. Oh, that's the former President Jerry John Rawlings, his wife Nana Akufo-Addo Agyeman Rawlings, former President John Agyekum Kufuor, his aide Frank Agyekum, former Vice President Kwesi Mr. Arthur, right there exchanging pleasantries. Is that Baba Kamara? Not so sure about that. And a few other dignitaries right now exchanging pleasantries with the President of the Republic. I haven't spotted former President John Mahama at this ceremony. Last year he was very much a part of this, and he's been a part of many of other public events that have been put together, especially during the special program that was organized to commemorate 25 years of
I now hand over to my co-MC,
The parade is now at ease, is to enable them rest their limbs while the performances are ongoing. Shall we enjoy that?
Invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. The traditional dance performance is by pupils of Dr. H.S. Bannerman Basic School from Mamprobi in the Ablekuma South Sub-Metro. The school was established on the 27th of September 1998. It has a pupil population of 757, and Mrs. Victoria Ajimanbia is the headmistress. Their motto is in person. pursuit of excellence. First dance to be performed is Kamba by the Dagombas of the northern region. Emerged from the Zamfara in the north of Nigeria, Cameroon, the first quarter of the 18th century during the reign of Nazagina. Dance is normally performed by men who portrayed horsemanship skills during festive occasions while chieftaincy is being celebrated. Chiefs show themselves to the people in beautiful regalia through solemn processions. People troop onto the festive grounds or palaces to shower praises, show respect, entertain, show sympathies, love, show off their finery while listening to oral history, praise singers sing to the paramount chiefs or kings and subjects. Next dance, ladies and gentlemen, is the Kete dance. This is associated with the traditional chiefs of the Akan people of southern Ghana. It used to be the dance of Kete Kwachi hunters. However, when the Ashantis conquered them during the war over the dance, this can be seen in the symbolic cloth used to cover the Kete dance. Dance is now performed to entertain chiefs during special occasions to show unity, strength, and peace. It's the occasion. Dance is normally performed in the Ghanaian traditional kente and ahenema to show off the great culture of Ghanaians. It's normally performed by both men and women. Initially was a ceremonial dance performed by only women, with the men playing the musical instrument. However, with time its performance became recreational and social. It is now performed by both sexes, young and the elderly. It is also asserted that movements of Fume are borrowed or carved out of several ritual and ceremonial dances from various parts.
There we have a display of culture by some students selected from schools from the Greater Accra region. And we've been informed that the former president is leading an election in Sierra Leone, where they are having their elections today. And he's been playing very instrumental roles in elections across Africa. We saw him play a key role in the transitional process in the Gambia. He was involved during the first round of elections in Kenya, and in Liberia also he was a key member of the observer team, and he's currently in Freetown, the leader of an observer team to that country to observe the elections. And it is the reason why former President John Dramani Mahama is not here. We've been informed that he is in Freetown. But the ceremony continues.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the three dances, the pupils have formed a symbol depicting Ghana at 61.
Beautiful depiction of Ghana at 61 by the pupils. Was the cultural display by some students selected from
and now
schools in the Greater Accra region.
His squadron leader Francisca Ahulu.
In commentary position, my colleague Selike Makole Chapalu, as well as Commander Veronica Ajo Ahin. And we see some young men and women approaching the ground to display their skills.
We shall now have a karate display by the Ghana Karate Federation, introducing the magnificent art of karate. The word karate is a Japanese word meaning empty hand. That is the art of fighting empty-handed. Karate training builds a resilient and formidable personality. The group is going to perform the three pillars of karate, namely Kihons, Katas, and Kumite. Kihons is the fundamental technique upon which all other forms or pillars are built. Katas is a detailed, choreographed pattern of Kihons, practiced either solo or in groups. They are preset patterns of attacks and defense against multiple assailants.
karate display there. And we've been made to understand that karate in Japanese language simply means empty hands, the art of fighting without any weapons. And many karate experts explain that the art of karate is basically for self-defense and not to perpetrate offensive attitudes against others. And obviously the crowd responding to the display, and the Vice President as well as President of Nigeria in your shot a while ago enjoying the display here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now witnessing a short sketch illustrating a form of kumite where a young girl is attacked by multiple assailants. Fortunately equipped with self-defense skills of karate, she single-handedly overpowers these bullies. The young lady in the sketch is Miss Kumi Yusuf. Let's give them a round of applause, please.
Beautiful, beautiful sights and sounds from the Black Star Square here in Accra. President of Nigeria, Vice President of Ghana, obviously enjoying themselves as the Ghana Karate Foundation have just finished displaying. The president also in the show on your screens right now appears to have enjoyed the display there. Sights and sounds from the Independence celebration at the Black Star Square here in Accra.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now
we move
time
to the next
for the
stage.
band to troop.
And we'll witness in a short while the trooping of the mass band. In commentary position, Selikem Akolecha Palu, Commander Veronica Ajo Ahen. Yes, so we have to, we're about to witness the trooping of the mass band. So why must they always be the first to troop? We've seen that happen over the years.
Exactly. And they are normally the first because they will need to stretch their limbs, display, and then take a position that will allow the other contingent on parade to march past. So trooping is more of a ceremonial drill, but the aim is to allow them display their mace. You know, they are holding their maces at the appropriate time. They'll be displaying them, and they'll also march past, and after which they will move to an appropriate position, which I cannot tell from here. That will enable the other members to have the space to march past.
And they're the ones who also provide the background music with which all the other troops march. And so they march and they'll take position before the other troops begin.
That's right.
To march. Yes. But so they're holding
the maze.
The maze. And yes, we're asking for the explanation to the maze. What is it for and why do they throw it around?
It is the symbol of authority, and the drum majors always hold it, and they use the mace to direct the rest of the band. You know, as they march, the mace, they used to point to them as to whether to turn right, to turn left, and all that. Apart from the display that is used for, it is used for directing the band, and it's a symbol of authority. So it's normally held by the senior person.
And one question that's many lay people like myself always ask us, well, so what happens when during the process of trying to display, you know, their dexterity at handling the maze, it falls on the ground? Have any punitive measures taken against such officers?
Well, per tradition, if the maze falls, it means your authority has fallen. Yes, and the consequences could range from simple query to even possibly being withdrawn, because if it becomes a common feature with you, you could be withdrawn from that appointment. So it's something very delicate. We might see it and be enjoying it, but it's very delicate. That is somebody's career.
And how much of rehearsals go into preparing for such the rehearsals that go into the preparations?
A lot of rehearsals going through to getting them to come this far. And then on their own, they also train a lot. You know, we undertake a number of parades back in the units on different occasions. So they keep training and rehearsing. And that's what makes us see this beautiful display this morning.
All right. A while ago, we saw Madam Ikadonko. She attempted on 2 occasions to run for President of the Republic. Fortunately, she was disqualified from having her name on the ballot. She's here at the Independence Square. A while ago, I mistook Ghana's High Commissioner to Nigeria, Mr. Rashid Bawa, for Baba Kamara. It was actually Mr. Rashid Bawa who was in your shot a while ago as well. Yes. So the maze. Beautiful sights and scenes and sounds from the Black Star Square. Yes, so now they turn from the slow march.
Yeah, exactly. So he used the maze to signal to the band that they are going to change from slow to quick time. And that is a beautiful display there that we can see.
This band is made up of
the Ghana Armed Forces, that's the Army, Navy, Air Force bands, and the Ghana Police Service. And we all know the importance of music to society, and that is what the band does on occasions like this. Music is said to be the food for the soul. So the band, apart from displaying on occasions like this, also organize special days as band concerts where they entertain the general public. So the band plays a very important role in the Ghana Armed Forces and in the security services as a whole. They help personnel to march in tune, and they also entertain personnel. I believe if you're on parade and you are listening to very good tunes, you could stand there for hours without feeling tired. Yes.
And these are specially trained personnel?
Yes, these are trained personnel. Some come in with the training, some do not have, so when they come, they train from the scratch. Those who come in already trained, they also upgrade, so we constantly train them.
61st Independence Day Parade, live from the Black Star Square here in Accra. And this ceremony is being replicated across the length and breadth of the country, in every regional capital, in every district capital. This event is taking place. Ghana, 61 years after attaining independence. There's a lot to celebrate, but there's also a lot to wish against in the last 61 years, and almost all the governments that have ruled, there have been allegations of corruption, there have been cases of armed robbery, there have been instances where we have come together as Ghanaians to cry and complain, but there have also been several instances where the people of Ghana have rallied together around the Ghana flag to celebrate over very, very huge stories. For example, under the last 61 years, the Black Stars of Ghana have won the Africa Cup of Nations 4 times. Yes.
The band has formed an all-round defense. That's a display they have currently. And that is to depict and to inform Ghanaians that they are protected, whichever means. The armed forces, the security services are ready to guarantee the security of every Ghanaian. And so the band is giving us an all-round defense.
And that's one of the things that we need to celebrate as Ghanaians, that in the last 61 years, we haven't had the kind of turmoil that we have witnessed in other African countries and indeed in other countries across the world. We have our peace to celebrate, and we also have our togetherness. You see people belonging to different political parties sitting together, having a chat and laughing over issues. We've seen our former presidents come together to chart a common path for the country. Many countries do not have these successes, and these are some of the things that we need to celebrate as a people. Some very senior persons, statesmen, also here to celebrate the 61st anniversary of attainment of independence. After the trooping of the mass band, we will. This is Mr. Kadem, I believe. It's a leading member of the New Patriotic Party, a founding member, I should say. And it was on your screens a few seconds ago. After the trooping of the mass band, we will have the school children and other interest groups also march past. Selikem, you witnessed some of these marching past in the past. So what else do you have with you?
Especially with regards to the participation of school children marching during this event, this is something that many school children look forward to, and this has become a very important feature of the Independence Day March. Now, a lot of preparations go into this. Schools set time aside to train its contingent of about 50 members or so, and you have regular rehearsals during the march past, which highlights today's event. And normally the marchers or the students who are selected to partake in this are expected to be as neat as possible to be able to make it for the pass and to be able to come to the Independence Parade and take part in the march. Now, a lot of school children have partaken in this over the years, and the criterion for selection includes the neatness of the uniform and general smartness. You need to be smart for this, and you're also required to wear impeccable white canvas shoes with white socks. That was back then. Now, obviously, the trend has changed, but this is something that a lot of school children look forward to. There has been the situation of, unfortunately, having some school children collapse over the years because of the amount of time they spend standing in the sun ahead of the inspection and the march past. However, over the years, we've had some interesting innovations that have helped to minimize the time and stress involved in this. And as the years have gone by, we have heard the number of children who have collapsed reducing year by year. But this is something that these schools.
So we are just done, Selikem. We are just done with the trooping of the mass band, and that means it's now time for the march past, which will commence with the school children and other interest groups. Schools move to the right in 3, right 10.
Yes.
Interesting instructions.
Yes, he's directing them to start their march. And this is an innovation. It's to help the students and the pupils to march past and take their seats so that they can rest. Over the years, many of the students or pupils fall off, some collapse and all that, and we want to reduce that stress. So they are going to march past and go and sit down and leave the rest of the parade for the Ghana Armed Forces and the other security services.
Center and the Sacred Heart Technical Institute. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to state that the vision of the Ghana Education Service is to create an enabling environment in all educational institutions and directorates that would facilitate effective teaching and learning. The mission of the service is to ensure that all Ghanaian children of school-going age are provided with quality education through effective resource management. The Director General of the Ghana Education Service is Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwah, with lawyer Anthony Boateng as the Acting Deputy Director General. They are supported by divisional directors, 10 regional directors, and district, municipal, metropolitan directors. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Ghana Education Service is one of the enviable agencies under the Ministry of Education, headed by Honorable Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh and supported by Honorable Dr. Yao Sekedici, Deputy Minister for General Education, Honorable Barbara Asha Ezi, Deputy Minister in charge of Technical and Vocational Education Training, and Honorable Professor Kojo Yanka, Minister of State in charge of Tertiary Education. These honorables, in collaboration with the Director General and his deputy, I must say, are the driving force of the Free Senior High School policy, which has come to ensure a fair and just society where there will be equal opportunities for all, irrespective of family circumstances, to increase access and to provide its citizenry with quality education. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the implementation of this policy culminated in Honorable Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh being adjudged as the best minister of 2017 by the Facts Investigative Services, which conducted a survey to assess the performance of ministers. We say are equal to you, Honorable Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, for the good job you are doing for motherland. First contingent from the Ghana Education Service are pupils from the Ashedu Keteke. There were people enrollment of 10,200. Ms. Helena Anansi and Mr. Godwin Aikpa are the contingent leaders. Ivy Tay and Caroline Aiti are the banner girls. And Mr. Frederick Dia is the second supervisor. The motto of the sub-metro is Aname Anate, Anate Aname. This means that they do not enter into ventures that they have not fully prepared for and thus do not exert their energies into fruitless ventures. Closely following the Ashedu Keteke sub-metro is the contingent from the Ayawaso Central sub-metro schools. It was established in 2010 and our student enrollment of 9,016. Ms. Rita Akofia and Mr. David Amebo are the contingent leaders. Saida Adisa Adam and Sarah Akum are the banner girls. And the motto of the sub-metro is Yebeye. We will do all we can do. Madam Judy Muduga is the second supervisor. Basic School. The school was established in 1994 as a private school and absorbed in 2004 as a public school. It has a student population of 545. Portia Binam and Ibrahim Alassa Atha are the contingent leaders. Hawa Okante and Khadija Mahama are the Bana girls. And the second supervisor is Mr. Koi Labi. The motto of the school is the fear of Allah is the beginning of wisdom. Closely following the Ablekuma South Metro contingent is contingent from the Ayawasu East. The Sub-Metro has 250 schools. The contingent leader is in front is Koleki Koda Ahuma, and behind is Amin Husseini. Gladys Akapo and Patricia Mea, the Bana girls. The motto of the Sub-Metro is with God, all things are possible. Now is the turn of contingent from the Aditrum Preparatory School to approach the days. Established January 1948. The school has an enrollment of 400. The contingent leader in front is Richmond Pepra, and behind is Miss Abna Sophia Ray. Wendolina Pedro and Stella Sari are the Bana girls. The motto of the school is the truth given light and peace. The state contingent is from the Ablekuma North Sub-Metro schools. Also established in 1987, the school has a pupil population of 900. Williams Chako is the second supervisor. Abna Dadibia and Emmanuel Kumache are the contingent leaders. The Bana girls are Esther Olivia and Eunice Isa. The last contingent from the basic school is contingent from Okaikwe Sub-Metro. Sub-Metro has 250 schools and has a pupil population of 6,299. Netokofia Ketia and Millicent Samoru are the Bana girls. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the first contingent from the senior high school are students from the Kaneshi Senior High Technical. Leading the contingent is Mr. Michael Asantidansu, and he is being supported by Mr. Felix Jones Asna. The Bana girls are Charity Ketia and Millicent Lamptey. The head of the school is Miss Pearl Bruce, and the motto is no lasting glory is without a struggle. We now have contingent from His Majesty Senior High School. Mr. Jonathan Latam and Mr. Richard Abbey are the contingent leaders. The Bana girls are Rebecca Ajo Alipem and Edna Odo. It was established in 1998, and the motto of the school is discipline, dedication, and commitment. coordinator of PE programs. Ms. Cynthia Wise Atope, assistant to the director of PE. And Mr. Michael Lintu Aye, regional PE coordinator.
Apart from the school children, we also have some interest groups marching past. We have the 7-day Adventist Church marching past now under the command of Mr. Samuel Asapre Frefon. The color ensign is Mr. Richmond Opokutufor. They have formed a cross which signifies salvation through Christ. Following the SDA Church is Amnesty International under the command of Mr. Graham Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, approaching the days now, we have representatives from Okainshi, Agogloshi, Pantamanto, and Makola Traders and Hawkers Union marching past. They are displaying their products and wares beautifully as they march past and dress beautifully in their painted clothes. Ladies and gentlemen, these are market women and men from Okainshi, Agogloshi, Antamanto, and Makola.
Black Star Square is on. We've seen some of the school children already march past, and then we've also seen some market women given the opportunity to march past also. Now is the turn of the military to do the march past, and so we've already had the troops. The trooping of the mass band.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
The display by the market women very, very significant because of the role they played in the independence struggle. So it's good to see them display our wares and then to see what Ghana produces locally. We are hoping that to advance our fortunes of economic independence, will be able to export more and then package them well so that they'll be out there as finished products that will fetch us more revenue as compared to what we're doing now that's just fetching us a very minimal amount of revenue.
So we'll just witness the commander do his thing.
The parade second in command and the parade adjutant will change position for the march past.
This is what I love about the military, and the beauty of the parade and the commands. If that is all it was to being a military person, I would have been a military man now. But I know there's a lot more to it than what we see at the parade grounds.
Exactly, a lot of training, a lot of hard work goes into what we are witnessing right now.
And Selikem was a moment ago talking about how independent Ghana has been over the years. And I'll just bring a quote from the president, who says that the Ghana that I am seeking with your support is a Ghana beyond aid, a Ghana that will free herself from the mindset of handouts, a Ghana mobilizing her own resources to solve her own problems. And again, we've been informed that former President John Dramani Mahama isn't here because he has led a team of observers to Sierra Leone, where they are having their elections, and that's why he's not here. Commander has a powerful voice.
Exactly, it's part of the training. Whilst our training, you'll be made to give command, word of command. So with time, you build upon that. And even though the march we are seeing has become more of a drill, marching in itself helps personnel to endure. It enhances endurance, it enhances discipline, because having to stand in this scorching sun from 8:40 till when we'll end takes a lot of determination. That is what marching helps men and women in uniform to do. We now have the army contingent. Army has two contingents. We have the male contingent and the female contingent. The male contingent is under the command of Captain Abugri Salifu, and his supernumeraries are Lieutenant Ajemai Osei and Lieutenant Nana Ama Deborah. The female contingent is under the command of Captain Edna Dawai. Her supernumeraries are Lieutenant Patience Yavuga and Lieutenant Evelyn Nansen. And the senior non-commissioned officer supernumerary is Staff Sergeant Ofori Ware Dora. contingent. And the male contingent is commanded by Lieutenant Ghana Navy Robert James Agor, with Sub-Lieutenant Felix Kwafo Foley and Sub-Lieutenant George Mauli as his supernumeraries. And the color party is sandwiched between the Navy male contingent and the female contingent. We now have the male contingent of the Army on the screen.
Personnel here in their ceremonial uniform. These are, yes, so, and that's one of the misconceptions that Ghanaians have about the military. We combine everybody together and call them the soldiers or the military. What are the differences?
The military composes of the Ghana Army, Navy, and the Air Force. They constitute the military or the Ghana Armed Forces. So the single services will have to be identified by their names, be it Army, Navy, or Air Force. Approaching now is the male contingent of the Ghana Navy. And directly behind them is the color party, which I spoke of much earlier in the day. And drills can be done at the slow or the quick time. Currently, personnel are doing the slow drill or the slow march. That's the female Army contingent on the screen, under the command of Captain Edna Aku Dawai.
Following the Army male contingent is the female contingent commanded by Captain Edna Aku Dawai.
That's the Navy female contingent under the command of Naval Lieutenant Juliana Asamoah. Her supernumeraries are Sub-Lieutenant Richardson Kali Anabatia and Sub-Lieutenant Agnes Arthur. The senior non-commissioned supernumerary is Petty Officer Class 2, Dinah Agbenyo.
Sub-Lieutenant Felix Kwafo and Sub-Lieutenant George Mauli. Senior NCO supernumerary is VO2 Etopon.
And by tradition, every contingent marching past would have to pay compliments on reaching where the president is. So just before reaching where the president is, you have to pay the appropriate compliment by looking to the direction of the president. And that is the Navy male contingent that just marched past. We have the Air Force female contingent marching past, and it's under the command of Flight Lieutenant Clara Odro Jemfi, with Flying Officer Felicia Asante and Flying Officer Precious Tay as her supernumeraries. We now have the color party also paying compliments. We have the Ghana.
We have the female contingent, commanded by Lieutenant Ghana Navy Juliana Asamoah. The supernumerary are Sub Lieutenant Richard Ali Anabatia and Sub Lieutenant Agnes Ahmed. Senior NCO supernumerary is CO Diana Agbayo.
The female contingent paying compliment on the march.
Commanded by Flight Lieutenant Emmanuel Mensah, with Flying Officer Benjamin Osekojo, and Flying Officer Stephen Adai as the supernumerary. Senior NCO supernumerary is Sergeant Aniko Iba.
We have the Air Force male contingent approaching and is under the command of Flight Lieutenant Emmanuel Mensah with Flying Officer Benjamin Osei Kojo and Flying Officer Stephen Adai as his supernumeraries.
Flying Officer Precious as the supernumerary. Senior NCO supernumerary is Flight Sergeant Jenny Senegal.
That's the female Air Force contingent.
So as we continue to witness the march past by the Ghana Armed Forces and other security services, it is instructive to trace the history of Ghana with the Ghana Armed Forces in focus. And Selicam, I know that the Ghana Armed Forces was formed in 1957, right after Ghana Army. The Ghana Armed Forces was established in 1957, right after independence, is it?
Right. It was established, formed in 1957, and of course the first Major General was Stephen Otu, appointed as the Ghana Armed Forces Chief of Defense Staff in September 1961. And from 1966, the Ghana Armed Forces was extensively involved in politics, mounting several coups. Kwame Nkrumah, a former president, first prime minister of the country, when he became independent, and he began to take actions with the armed forces, including the creation and expansion of the president's own guard regiment. Now, as a result, on February 24, 1966, a small number of army military personnel and senior police officials, led by Emmanuel Kotoka, commander of the 2nd Army Brigade at Kumasi, successfully launched Operation Cold Chop. That was the 1966 Ghanaian coup against the Nkrumah regime. That was the first coup. And the group formed the National Liberation Council. Now, the second coup undertaken by the army took place in 1972 after the reinstated civilian government cut military privileges and started changing the leadership of the army combats as well. Now, on October 9, 1975, the National Redemption Council was replaced by the Supreme Military Council, and council members were Colonel Achampong, who was promoted straight from Colonel to General. Now, in July 1978, in a sudden move, the other Supreme Military Council officers forced Achampong to resign, replacing him with Lieutenant General Kufu. The council was also motivated by Achampong's failure to dampen rising political political pressure for changes. Now, the decree lifting the ban on political parties went into effect on the 1st of January 1979 as planned. And currently we do know that the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces is the President of Ghana, and the Minister for Defense, Honorable Dominic Nitiwo, and the Chief of Defense Staff as well. The Ghana Armed Forces has had some external operations from the Congo ONUC, the First Liberian Civil War, Sierra Leone Civil War, the Iraq War, the Nepalese Civil War, and the Georgian-Caucasian conflicts. Now, these are some operations that the Ghana Armed Forces has been involved in externally.
Commander Veronica Ahen, I mean, we've over the years also seen the equipment display by the Ghana Armed Forces, which I believe will be seen very shortly. But what's the significance of displaying some of the equipment to the public?
Okay, before I answer that, I just want to add that the Ghana Armed Forces is established by Chapter 17 of the 1992 Constitution, just an addition. And then the Army traces its history way behind during the colonial era, while the Navy and the Air Force were formed 1959.
All right.
Yes, the militaries are established for defense, deterrence, and show of force. And so the display of those equipments in the past was meant to let your neighbor know that you have equipment, and so you should not even attempt it. It was meant as a show of force. However, over time, this has become more of a ceremonial activity. It's just to tell us that we have an armed forces that is well equipped, that is prepared to defend Mother Ghana by any means possible. So it's just to let and in fact, we do not display everything. What we display is just a representation of what we actually have, just to let the public know that we are equipped for the job at hand.
A while ago, we saw on the screens some officers of the Ghana Immigration Service. They are very much a part of the security services, and they are very well represented here at the Black Star Square as we celebrate 61 years of independence. And we are currently witnessing the march past by the Ghana Armed Forces and other security services. President Buhari, President of Nigeria, President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, President of Ghana, First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo, right there a few moments ago. And the drone shots, obviously many of the patriots here enjoying the sounds from the mass band of the Ghana Armed Forces, made up of Navy, Army, and of course the Ghana Air Force and the police band, of course. Interesting, beautiful sounds and sights coming from the Black Star Square here.
And you also realize that the slow march was done by only the Ghana Armed Forces. I believe the aim is to reduce the time that is spent on the parade. However, the quick march will be done by the Armed Forces and all the other security services.
Commendation goes to all the crew working behind the scenes, very hard workers behind the scenes to ensure that we get all these beautiful pictures that are coming to you from the Black Star Square here on GBC channels, GTV, GTV Govern, and GBC 24. This is the 61st Independence Day Parade, and kudos to all the hardworking crew members from GBC who have made this possible.
The
Team
Ghana Armed
led
Forces.
by Johnny Aite, Ebenezer Mpabin, Titi Andepe, and the host of them, directed by Kofi Appiah, Labaran Mohammed behind, Rashid, and all the other guys who have made this possible. Ablo, Abo, and all of you. wait to see the equipment and the special forces. The last time, the first time they displayed was somewhere in 2012 when I saw the special forces come out. It was the first time many of us had actually seen them display at such a parade. Are we likely to see them today?
Per the program that I've seen so far, I'm not too sure that we'll see them, but they are in action on the quiet, I guess.
So we're still enjoying the sights and sounds from the Independence Day parade at the Black Star Square. Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, His Excellency, accepting the salute. He is the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces.
And it's good to note that the Ghana Armed Forces has certain alliances. In 2013, the Ghana Armed Forces agreed for closer military cooperation with the China People's Liberation Army. And in 2013 as well, the Ghana Armed Forces also agreed for closer military cooperation with the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran. And also in 2012, it agreed to closer military cooperation with the armed forces of the Russian Federation. And so Ghana Armed Forces, as it is structured, has its alliances as well.
Right.
I wish to add that the Ghana Armed Forces only helps to project our government's vision and mission. So once our governments have that cordial relationship with the various governments you've mentioned, the militaries are automatically also encouraged to work together as a team. And so we have such relationship with a number of other countries not mentioned here. Yes, the Ghana Police today, they have 4 contingents on parade. I must add, they have the highest number of contingents. And the number 1 contingent is under the command of ASP Kingsley Esrifi Asante and ASP Joseph Ali Bawa and ASP Justice Aite are the supernumerary. For number 1 female contingent of the police is commanded by ASP Mary A.C. Kumsin with ASP Joyce Adjoa Kwabena Asare. And the number 2 male contingent of the police is commanded by ASP Alori Gabriel and ASP Emmanuel Baba Asabila and ASP Dodo Kofi Roberts as the supernumerary. And the female's 2nd contingent is commanded by ASP Mary Nrekua Tando with ASP Selina Amelmu and ASP Ama Doeti Saki as supernumeraries. The Ghana prisons also has 2 contingents on parade, 1 female and the other males. The male contingent is under the command of DSP Emmanuel Nyatwame and ASP Bashiru and ASP Felix Odonko as supernumeraries. The female contingent is commanded by DSP Mabel Edibrika with DSP Zenabu Mame Isa Adoko and ASP Evelyn Famisa as supernumeraries. The fire service also provided 2 contingents. The male contingent is under the command of ADO2 Emmanuel Simpson. His supernumeraries are ADO2 Michael Tete and Thomas Emeraldson Atanga. The female contingent of the fire service is under the command of ADO2 Benedicta Osabu. Her supernumeraries are ADO2 Priscilla Ampong and ADO2 Francisca Ofosua Anan. Closely behind the Ghana National Fire Service is the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Their male contingent is being commanded by Assistant Revenue Officer Eugene Menka Asenso. His supernumeraries are Assistant Revenue Officer Augustine Pereira and Assistant Revenue Officer Edwin Nikwe Tete. Assistant Revenue Officer Patience Dawute is commanding the Customs Division of GRA female contingents. Her supernumeraries are Assistant Revenue Officer Comfort Omare and Assistant Revenue Officer Sekina Adam. Immigration's male contingent is under the command of DSI Divine Mensa, with the supernumeraries as ASI Frederick Obosu and ASI Yao Brobe Sherman Singh. Now we have equipment display and we have the recce. Like I said earlier on, the display is just to let the public know the kind of equipment we use and also assure them that their security is granted.
So the military marching, and we're about to witness the display of equipment. And there it is, the display of equipment. This is an armored vehicle of the
Recce Regiment. Yes.
And, let me just announce once again that we have announced that former President John Mahama is not here at the ceremony because he has led a team of observers to Sierra Leone, where they are having their elections today, and that's the reason why he's not here. We have made that announcement.
The number 1 troop is commanded by Lieutenant Cosmos Asamoah. He's with the Moaks and Rattels. And number 2 is commanded by Lieutenant Henry Asante with the 4 Typhoons. I know they don't mean anything. They are just Recce regiments. And these are the personnel in charge.
Commanded by Captain Asante Mande with 0.5 vehicles in a diamond formation. The squadron commander is Captain Jude Mini.
The number 3 troop is commanded by Captain Ya Asante Mante, and this must be an encouragement to girls and young women that they can do everything with determination.
Vehicles, about his plan. These are deployed tactically against enemy aircraft.
And just a little note on our recounting of some of the historical aspects of our independence celebration. On the issue of the Second Republic, Busia was the Prime Minister, and the recognized president voted for, and then he appointed Edward Akufo-Addo. So, per the constitution that time, the Prime Minister was revered as the president and not the head of state. That's what it is. So let's see more of the equipment on display. And that's obviously what we see behind the troops there from the Navy.
Yes, the Navy will also get its turn to display some of the equipment that it uses at sea to ensure that our maritime domain is safe for fishing and for other activities. You know, we have very strategic national assets at sea, and the Navy is constantly there to ensure that it is safe for the country. And stealing and piracy is not given an opportunity in our maritime domain. And so they are here to display just some of the equipment. We now have the 66th Artillery Regiment on the screen, and they are located in the Volta region.
Beautiful scenes there. The young lad there, I'm sure this occasion will forever remain in his memory as he observes the military display some of their equipment to the admiration of so many young people here today. It's amazing to find that without any... Oh, what's that?
And that is the Navy in the CNS class boat. So they are in a class boat. This is a boat, it's not a ship. And just displaying how they operate it on the seas.
And these are divers?
And they are taking the compliment, yes. And from the way they are dressed, they are special forces from the Navy. So these people ensure that we continue to have the fish that we have in the country. They ensure that our FPSO is protected.
But still, and I'm not directing questions at you, but many Ghanaians will tell you that our fish stock keeps reducing. 61 years after independence, we still have fair trawling. We still have issues to do with people fishing beyond the approved boundaries for fishing, and so on and so forth. And we have the military, the Navy in charge. And after 61 years, we don't appear to have the power to control petty things such as patrolling, light fishing, and so on.
The Navy does a lot in collaboration with other stakeholders, but unfortunately it is out of our sight. So it's difficult to convince people that a lot is being done. But for the presence of the Navy and its stakeholders, I'm sure the situation would have been worse than this. And therefore it requires a collective effort. When we have illegalities ongoing, unregulated fishing, unauthorized fishing, we need our fisher folks to give us that information, and we will process it into intelligence upon which we can act. So we need the cooperation of all, especially the fisher folks, those along the coast, to give us timely information upon which we can act.
Yes, fire service. That is the Ghana National Fire Service, also on display, showing us what stuff they are made of in terms of their equipment. And okay. Ghana Beyond Aid is what we see the military display there as they parade and line up. This is interesting. Ghana Beyond Aid. Tell us about it. How did you come with this idea?
Well, that's the theme for this year's celebration. And parades can be used to communicate the theme of the day. Now we have our physical instructors displaying as they also drive past. That is beautiful, isn't it? You see,
it looks beautiful, but I'm just
extremely beautiful.
I see those officers hanging upside down. Are they under punishment?
No, they are not. It's part of the physical training that personnel go through. So this is just to give you the tip of the iceberg and also encourage people to join. It's so beautiful.
Commander, did you go through this yourself?
Oh, please, I don't want to talk about it today. If you saw me under training, you would have run away from me. I was looking like, I don't know.
Is it compulsory for every military officer, whether with the officers or other ranks, to go through such physical training?
Physical fitness is a must to become a military personnel, whether officer or other rank. Because without physical fitness, you will not be able to carry your weapon and run long distances during battle. So physical fitness is a must for everybody.
But how physically intensive is this? Because this looks quite intensive.
It is extremely intensive.
Another person being carried on another person's neck.
And there's no discrimination when it comes to such physical exercises, as in men and women, you all go through the same.
No, there's no discrimination per the training. We are all supposed to go to the same training. For instance, when we are going for running a 12-kilometer distance, naturally most men will arrive before the women, but at the end of the day, the women are also expected to go to the same training. But these people are physical instructors, so they are extremely fit.
And they give instruction to the...
I don't have dreams of joining the military.
They give instruction to others who are being trained?
Yes, they train us, both officers and men during training. The physical instructors that will take you through the physical training phase of the military training. And so the information we are sending is that if you are overaged and you reduce your age, you are only digging your own grave. So when we request a specific age, people try to doctor their documents. They only come and maybe might not complete the training at the end of the day.
Independence Day celebration 2018, 61 years after Ghana attained independence in 1957 from British colonial rule. Some say the struggle started way back in 1888 when Ghana signed, well, those days, the Gold Coast, when there was that treaty, the Bond of 1888, is it? And those were the beginning days of Ghana's path to independence, and it culminated in 1948 in the riots when some military officers who had returned from the World War II were expecting some compensation. The compensation wasn't forthcoming, and they decided to march to the Christiansborg Castle where to meet the governor, but were accosted by a guard who opened fire and shot and killed 3 of the war veterans, Sergeant Ajete, Corporal Atipo, and Private Odate Lamte. And the riots that sparked off after those shooting incidents led to a series of activities and incidents which culminated eventually in Ghana's attainment of independence. And the story goes on and on until today, as we're here celebrating 61 years of independence. So the question remains, how independent are we? And the president takes notice of the fact that even though we are an independent country, we still to a very large extent depend on others for survival in terms of our economy and other aspects. But he's making a commitment, and he says that the that I am seeking with your support is Ghana. And Ghana Beyond Aid, this is the theme for this year's celebration of our Independence Day, and that is what we just saw on the screen right there, as demonstrated by the security services. Beautiful. Ghana Beyond Aid, a true representation of what independence should truly mean. Okay. Parade advances in review order. What is that?
It is part of the parade. It's to enable the personnel come closer to whoever is going to speak to them. You can understand that the formation they have now, it will be difficult for personnel to get close to the edge of the march, of the square. And so the review allows personnel to move closer to the dais so that they can hear what the commander-in-chief is going to tell them.
Oh, okay.
And so they are going to now change the formation slightly and then move closer at the end so that they can draw closer to the dais.
So we are witnessing the parade as they advance in review order.
Now they are reforming. And then we'll advance in review order.
And advance in review order, meaning they'll get closer to the Commander-in-Chief, President of the Republic of Ghana, as he prepares to address the nation on the occasion of the 61st anniversary of Ghana's attainment of independence. But before then, right after the review order, they have advanced in review order, there will be the 21-gun salute, and then the fly past and naval vessels at sea will also display. Of course, our hard-working cameramen and other crew members are standing by to bring us all the activities, even at sea, as you know, the military, the Navy, prepares to do their own thing at sea in the short moments to come. But tell us about the 21-gun salute as well.
Well, gun salute is a form of paying compliment or respect to a high-ranking personality. It started as a naval tradition where military ships would fire aimlessly just to communicate to the other ships that they have no hostile intention. With time, this was adopted as compliment to very high-ranking personality. And 21-gun salute is the national salute that is given to presidents all over the world. And this number decreases with the status of the person. For instance, the vice president will be entitled to 19-gun salute. And when we come down, let's say the chief justice or a field marshal in the armed forces will be entitled to 17. Then it reduces as we go down the line. So gun salute is generally a compliment or a sign of respect.
Currently, it appears we are done with the parade advancing in review order, and the parade commander?
No, that is the parade adjutant. The third in command, if I can put it that way. That's the parade adjutant. And we always make sure that we have the three services represented on every national parade. They are now going to advance.
All right.
By the center. Big mark.
Shall we please rise for the presidential?
That's nice. So the parade has advanced in review order, and we'll now see the national salute.
And that is what we are having now. And just to continue.
So that was the national salute, and okay. is so well coordinated.
Exactly.
As soon as the 21st gun shot, then we saw the fly past.
And the anthem also ended.
How is the coordination done?
That is precision. The word is precision. No, it comes with constant training. Constant training.
Some signal was given to the pilots,
yes,
and that you should move at this time. Because,
yes.
Whoa.
Yes. You know, earlier when I said the Air Force were on ground and could take off at any time they were required. So just before the time they'll be prompted, and then they'll take off, and also fly past just at the right time, and that is military precision.
All right, Selikem Akolacha-Palu is here with me in commentary box as well. You've just witnessed the 21-gun salute fly past, and the naval vessels at sea, they will also very soon be displaying what they have. But so far, what have been some of your impressions of this parade?
Like Commander Ahin was saying, this is well coordinated. And this is very well coordinated, and it gives you a feeling of nostalgia. It takes me back to several years when we would troop here as school children, witnessing this, and the feeling of being a part of a country that has come so far as to celebrate 61 years of independence. It's a great achievement. We have a lot more to do, but we can work together and sustain our peace to ensure that we keep at it, and then we remain the beacon of democracy in
It's now
Africa.
time for remarks by the special guest of honor, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari.
The President of Nigeria will now address the 61st anniversary parade. President Buhari shares a lot in common with Ghana's President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. They both have pledged to fight corruption. They've both been tagged as persons who are incorruptible. Let's listen to him.
The President of the Republic of Ghana and his spouse, the Vice President and his spouse, the Speaker of Parliament, the Chief Justice of Ghana, spouses, His Excellency Sidia Toure, former Prime Minister of Guinea, the President of Nigeria Senate, Chairman and members of Council of State, Acting Chairman and Acting General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, Chairman of the Council of Elders, Honorable Ministers of State, Honorable Members of Ghana and Nigerian Parliament, National Assembly, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Chief and Queen Mothers, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the government and people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I am honored by the special invitation extended to me by His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo on his auspicious occasion and of the occasion of the 61st Independence Anniversary of the Republic of Ghana. I am delighted at the warm reception accorded me and my entourage since our arrival in this beautiful city of Accra. Your Excellency, I would like to pay special tribute to all leaders of the Republic, right from the era of the late past President Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to date. We must acknowledge their various contributions. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I extend my personal congratulations to President Akufo-Addo on your successful 1 year in office, with special note on the strides recorded by your administration within a space of just 365 days. All these efforts, I am aware, have made Ghana to become a good destination for foreign direct investment, just like Nigeria. Accept my congratulations. Your Excellency, my tributes to you and the people of Ghana will not be complete without acknowledging your efforts at tackling corruption, which has eaten into the fabric of our societies. I congratulate both the government and the Parliament for the quick passage of the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act and its signing into law. Your Excellency can be assured that you have a good partner in me as I look forward to any form of collaboration between Nigeria and Ghana in tackling the menace of endemic corruption. Given all these public policies, it becomes reassuring that with the right leadership, Africa drives to eradicate poverty and to entrench democracy is on course. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Nigeria and Ghana share close cultural and historic ties, which have continued to shape our bilateral relations. Once again, I note with pride that our common colonial experience, as well as parallel socio-economic and political development, and the patriotic vision of our leaders have helped greatly in shaping this unique relationship, not only in West African sub-region, but in our collaborative action internationally. Excuse me. It is therefore my strong desire that we owe it as a duty to ensure that our good peoples continue to live in each other's countries uninhibited. Our newly rejuvenated Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation has already provided us with good platform in resolving any differences while focusing on our main developmental objectives. Your Excellency, permit me to put on record Ghana's untiring efforts in brokering peace in Togo by bringing all the warring parties to the negotiating table. I am appealing to the opposition parties in Togo to please come together and resolve their differences so that Togo will move forward. In the same vein, I wish Nigeria and Ghana to continue to provide the impetus in realizing the objectives and ideals of the founding part of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to ensure security, peace, and development of our region. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government and people of Nigeria, I join other well-wishers to congratulate the government and good people of Ghana on this momentous occasion of your celebration of freedom. Long live the Republic of Ghana. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I thank you all.
Thank you, Your Excellency, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari. It's now time for the anniversary address by the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He will be ushered in by some school children with a drum appellation. I now hand over to my co-MC.
Thank you very much, Squadron Leader Francisca Aholo. If you just joined us, this is the 61st Independence Day Anniversary Parade, and it's being celebrated under the theme Ghana Beyond Aid. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the school to perform the drum appellation is the Bishop Mixed Basic School from the Ashedu Keteke Sub-Metro. The appellation is done to usher in very important personalities to rise and address their people. In this case, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is respectfully invited to step forward to deliver his independence address to the nation.
Afi, Waman Ghana, Wami Habo Afijro. Mene, Ona Afinyumai Epa Ke Ekome. Wami Shibokon. Nana Mahi Yellow, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Wami bi wala se chele kemi habu. Wami habu afijro keshi rejo. Owashi ni oya oshiwole no. Ni mambi bua ose. Ghana, Kejaman say 1 more 3D mling. When Chele aha owala say ache. Abo he wale, Kejamoni mlinko. Asang, abo he siba, Taumisi. Chawamanle Ebi ni wake ekome femo abwa wahena Ene penji gbeno ni obaton Oni Ghana ako emama papa ebu Wache Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo Mahi and yellow. Wale ake Ghana ka oshino. Obaye twenjole hewo. Eko me femo hewo. Esi omoni oya ke hamale no ya hewo. She ofele abo chui saleke ekan. Holy okuda Ghana. He ashiwo shikpale no. Kakwe osekra. Ya ohie. Oman penny. Okuchwaresu. Oyi akwine. Otankro, Otrekwa, Okoforebua, Osiadeyo, Oshabodi Bosheso, Odenimu, Dasibre, Susubribi, Owani Nana, Echie Nana. Manewo, Mawo Swe,
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Master Drama was Samuel Kwei. Narrators were Gifty Tego, Christabel Nyade, Charlotte Opoku, and Samira to Ibrahim. The pupils were taken through rehearsals by Mr. Justice Ronipa, Accra Metro Cultural Coordinator, and this was done under careful supervision of Mrs. Joyce Afreniama, Director National Coordinator for Cultural Education, Ghana Education Service.
Eminent clergy, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, our guest of honor, First Lady, Vice President and Second Lady, the Right Honorable Speaker and spouse, Madam Chief Justice, Chairperson and members of the Council of State, the First and Second Presidents of the Fourth Republic, the former First Lady, our former Vice President, the former Prime Minister of Guinea, President of the Nigerian Senate, dignitaries of the Ghanaian and Nigerian states, traditional rulers, members of the diplomatic corps, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. It is 61 years today since our nation, Ghana, won her independence, and it is fitting that we should gather to celebrate the anniversary of this special day. I must first of all extend on behalf of all Ghanaians a warm welcome to our guest of honor, that sterling champion of the battle against one of Africa's most pernicious diseases, corruption in public life, Muhammadu Buhari. President of the great Federal Republic of Nigeria and his delegation. We are delighted that he has accepted our invitation to share this special day with us. Nigeria Mampenyi Muhammadu Buhari Yamawo ni wahokafo akwa basronko Sandazoa Muhammadu Buhari Shugabankasa Nigeria Damutani Ka. Last year, at the 60th independence anniversary, I announced that on my way here, I'd cut the sod for the construction of a national cathedral, which will serve as an interdenominational place of worship for important national occasions. This year, I'm happy to announce that on my way here, I have unveiled the beautiful design of the cathedral that has been done by the world-acclaimed Ghanaian architect, David Adjaye. God will see the project through for us. At its birth, great things were expected of this nation of ours, and even greater things were expected of those who would have the honor to be called Ghanaians. This is the country, after all, that blazed the trail for independence on the African continent. And with it came a grave responsibility to be forever measured, to be forever used as a measure of how the continent was doing. In many ways, we rose to the occasion. The many and varied peoples that came together through happenstance or deliberate actions to form the modern state of Ghana have crafted a common identity. We might be Dagates, Sisalas, Dagombas, Mampruses, Gonjas, Kokumbas, Frafras, Grushis, Kusasis, Gans, Krobos, Eves, Fantis, Denchras, Gomois, Guans, Inzemas, Ahantas, Sefis, Achems, Akwamus, Ekwapems, Kwahus, Bronx, or Ashantis. We might sometimes even lapse into ancient rivalry modes, but as Ghanaians, we are comfortable in our skin. This sense of identity shows in our clothes, in our foods, in our music, and in our politics. 61 years after this nation pledged itself to the total liberation of the continent, in the immemorial words of our first leader, Kwame Nkrumah, on that unforgettable night of 5th March 1957 at the old Polo Grounds, a few hundred yards from here, that, and I quote, "Our independence is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of Africa," and unquote. We have remained faithful to our Pan-African vocation. We know that our struggle for economic growth and independence cannot be for our nation alone, but for the entire African continent. A few weeks ago, in the hallowed halls of the United States Congress, as their president came to deliver the State of the Union address, a group of congressmen and women wanted to make a statement of support for African nations. They draped kente strips over their clothing, and that said it all. Ghana's kente has come to identify the African continent and its peoples. The kente best spells out the fact that we are a dynamic people, unafraid to put our best foot forward, and unafraid constantly to adapt our cultures and traditions. We wear it with pride and in style. That quintessential Ghanaian patriot, scholar and cultural icon, Ephraim Amu, will certainly be looking now with admiration and satisfaction. At least, as far as clothing is concerned, we seem to have accepted his admonitions to be self-reliant and take pride in what was ours rather than copy others. During his time, Ora Amu fought a lonely battle, but today it seems strange to us that anyone ever suggested that you had to be dressed in European-style clothes to be accepted as a scholar or even to show up in church. Apart from the physical, outward things that identify us, there are the more subtle but important things that define us as Ghanaians. Everybody's list will doubtless be different. Let me cite a few of my favorite ones. We are a hospitable people. We make strangers and visitors feel at home. It is part of our DNA. We Ghanaians look out for each other, even in modern chaotic urban settings, and even when we find ourselves outside our country. We still regard the upbringing and training of children as a group responsibility for the public good. And the most sophisticated amongst us is not embarrassed to show respect to the elderly. We might have become famous or infamous for being great travelers who can be found in all parts of the globe. But I can safely say that deep inside us, we love our country. We love Ghana. We take seriously the words of our national motto and have a passionate love for freedom and justice. Fellow Ghanaians, there's a long list of honored personalities that have played remarkable roles in getting Ghana to where she is today. Many of them have been publicly acknowledged and justifiably honored in various ways. The role of the Big Six, Joseph Boakai Dankwa, Emmanuel Obeche Bilamte, Edward Akufo-Addo, William Ofori-Atta, Ebenezer Akwaje, and Kwame Nkrumah, our first president who led us to independence, in the struggle and attainment of independence, will never be forgotten. There are others, such as George Parr Grant, Komla Agbeli-Gbedema, and Kojo Botsio, whose efforts deserve to be acknowledged, and we should continue to give honor where it is due. But I must also pay homage to the many Ghanaians who simply continue to do their jobs and execute their tasks competently without any fuss. They do not ask to be recognized or recompensed in any way. For, as the Prime Minister of the erstwhile Progress Party government of the Second Republic, Kofi Abrefa-Busia, put it, and I quote, "It is by the devoted day-to-day service of many ordinary and unnoticed citizens that a nation achieves greatness," unquote. I pay homage to the many millions who routinely do what is right, what is virtuous in their daily activities to elevate the common good and do not come to the attention of a president. On a day such as this, when we celebrate the official start of our nationhood, we should also pay homage to those who have led the fight for individual freedoms, the fight that has made it possible for the present generation to believe that multi-party constitutional form of government is part of our makeup, the fight that led to the changing of the words of our national anthem in 1967 to include the sacred injunction, quote, "Help us to resist oppressors' rule," unquote. I pay homage to all those who have led the fight to resist oppressors' rule every time attempts have been made to take our freedoms from us. I salute also those who insisted that the concepts of probity and accountability should be part of the governing principles of the Constitution of the Fourth Republic, whose silver jubilee we celebrated on 7th January by an interfaith service of thanksgiving to Almighty God for having ushered us into the longest uninterrupted period of stable constitutional governance in our history. Fellow Ghanaians, it is important that we never forget our history, and we try not to distort the truth about our past. The ugly and beautiful parts, they all deserve to be faithfully recorded and told. As our elders say, if you do not know where you are coming from, you are not likely to get to where you want to be. Our brothers and sisters in Nigeria probably capture it best, and I quote, "To forget is the same as to throw away," unquote. We should make an honest assessment of ourselves and the situation of our country and our continent. This puts a lot of responsibility on those who tell our daily stories. In these days of social media, the task is on all of us, and not only on the journalists and writers. A deliberate falsehood posted on a social media platform poses a great danger to all of us and undermines the credibility of the Ghana story. On a day such as today, our thoughts invariably stray to the past. But as the second president of the Fourth Republic, His Excellency John Agyeku Nkufuor once put it, and I quote, "We do not intend to live on past memories, nor the Ghana story to be told only on what can be seen on old newsreel tapes, nor our sporting glories to be recounted only through the exploits of past heroes," unquote. To paraphrase Ephraim Amu in that great patriotic song, Yen Yar Ara Yasa Sinye, it is now our turn to build on those past glories. Edru Menewoso, Siebeyebi Atwaso. The litmus test is simple. Every day must bring some improvement in our lives. Today must be an improvement on tomorrow, on yesterday, and our tomorrow must certainly be better than our yesterday. Fellow Ghanaians, on this, our 61st anniversary of our independence, it is important to remind ourselves that around the time of our independence, we had peers such as Malaysia, South Korea, and Singapore. Our per capita incomes were very similar, at around 450 United States dollars in 1960. And our economies were dependent on the production of primary commodities. Today, these countries, once our peers, have significantly transformed themselves into industrialized economies. Income per head in Singapore is now at 51,431 United States dollars. South Korea at 29,115 United States dollars. And Malaysia at 9,623 United States dollars, compared to Ghana's at 1,152 United States dollars. We are still dependent on the export of primary commodities, as was the case at the time of Gordon Gettysburg. We must admit, sadly, that in the area of economic development, we have underachieved relative to our peers at independence. Even though underachievement may have been a major part of our history thus far, it should no longer be part of our destiny. The only nation we are destined to become is the one we choose and decide to be. We do not have to accept someone's definition of Africa or Ghana. We must define and craft our own destiny. As the American politician William Jennings Bryan once put it, and I quote, "Destiny is not a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for. It is a thing to be achieved," unquote. But achieving our destiny requires a deliberate qualitative change in all aspects of our lives, especially in the structure of our economy, the nature of our infrastructure, the education of our young people and acquisition of skills, and above all, in our attitudes and holding firm to the values that define us. The change in our fortunes will only happen when our economy improves. Since I became president, I've been advocating for a Ghana, indeed an Africa beyond aid, and I'm keen to have the support of all of us in this enterprise. Nobody needs to spell it out to us that the economic transformation we desire will not come through aid. We've been on that trajectory for most of the past 61 years, and it has not happened. We are told there is aid fatigue. The taxpayers of the aid givers have a right to decide how their tax money is spent. The truth is that even if there were no aid fatigue, and with the best will in the world, and the most charitable governments in place in the so-called donor countries, there will be never enough aid to develop Ghana to the level we want. Aid was never meant to be what would bring us to the status of a developed nation. I do not, by advocating a status beyond aid, want to inflict poverty on us or thumb our noses against those who have helped us and continue to do so. There's nothing to be gained in celebrating an ideological victory in poverty. There's no pride or dignity in poverty. There's no dignity in having hungry children or mothers dying needlessly in childbirth, and there's no dignity in drinking dirty water. We need no lessons in that. My fellow Ghanaians, ours is a country that is well endowed with many natural resources such as gold, bauxite, iron ore, diamonds, oil, natural gas, timber, cocoa, water, fertile land, etc. The truth, however, is that the state of our nation does not bear out that we have these natural endowments. Poverty continues to be our lot. Mismanagement, corruption, and high fiscal deficits have become the hallmarks of our economy, which we finance through borrowing and foreign aid. It is time to pursue a path to prosperity and self-respect for our nation. A Ghana beyond aid is a prosperous and self-confident Ghana that is in charge of her economic destiny. A transformed Ghana that is prosperous enough to be beyond needing aid, and that engages competitively with the rest of the world through trade and investment. It is possible. It is not a pie-in-the-sky notion, because other countries, including some of our peers at independence, have done exactly that. It is doable, and we must believe that what others with less resources can do, we can do. However, we are not going to achieve the transformation in our economy, which is necessary for a Ghana beyond aid, by just talking about it. We have to do something about it. As a start, we have to do things differently to realize this goal of a Ghana beyond aid. Business as usual will not do it. It cannot happen by waving a magic wand, and it cannot be achieved overnight. Indeed, the most rapid cases of economic and social transformation in history, those in Southeast Asia, generally span a period of 30 years, about a generation. We cannot wait that long. We have wasted enough time already. It is time to get on with it, and the time is now. You have heard me say on a number of occasions, I'm a man in a hurry, but I'm also a realistic man. To get to a Ghana beyond aid, we will have to harness effectively our own resources and deploy them creatively and efficiently for rapid economic and social transformation. As I said in the Independence Day address last year, this will require, quote, hard work, enterprise, creativity, and a consistent fight against corruption in public life, unquote. It also will require that we break from a mentality of dependency and adopt a confident can-do spirit fueled by love for our dear country, Ghana. We cannot subordinate the common good to build a prosperous nation to the selfish interests of a few. Moving beyond Ghana beyond aid means ensuring that future generations of Ghanaians have a healthy environment to inherit. We must thus be determined to protect our environment and water bodies by joining hands in the fight against illegal mining, also known as galamsey, in order to bring an end to the devastation of some of our landscape and the pollution of our water bodies occasioned by the activities of illegal miners. We have to win that fight to keep our environment clean and protect our heritage for our descendants. Fellow Ghanaians, we have started on the right path towards a prosperous future with the concrete steps we are taking to restore macroeconomic stability and economic growth. After a year of disciplined and innovative economic management, the results have been remarkable. Our economy has grown from 3.6% in 2016, the lowest in 22 years, to 7.9% in 2017, and is this year expected to grow at 8.3%, which would make it the fastest growing economy in the world. Inflation has gone down from 15.6% at the end of 2016 to 10.3% as of January this year. Ghanaian industry has witnessed a spectacular revival from a growth rate of negative 0.5% in 2016 to 17.7% in 2017. Interest rates are on the decline, the CD is stabilizing, and the fiscal deficit has gone down from 9.3% in 2016 to 5.6% of GDP in 2017, with a projection of 4.5% in 2018. Fiscal discipline has been restored and fiscal consolidation has taken hold. For the first time since 2016, government has been able to meet its fiscal deficit target. We will continue to manage the economy in a disciplined and sound framework so that we maintain fiscal and debt sustainability. This, in the long run, is fundamental to moving beyond aid. And improving disciplined macroeconomy is essential for expanding the economy and thereby creating jobs. This year, we will see vigorous job creation in the public sector, beginning with the recruitment of 100,000 young men and women in the Nation Builders Corps. But what I am seeking above all is the rapid growth of private sector jobs, both in industry and agriculture, i.e., for instance, in the program for Planting for Food and Jobs, which should generate a lot of rural sector jobs. Moving beyond aid demands that effective measures are taken to address widespread unemployment, especially amongst our youth. We are on the right path to do so. Fellow Ghanaians, corruption, or more specifically, the stealing of public funds, continues to hold back the development of our country. A recent audit by the Auditor General into the liabilities of the ministries, departments, and agencies led to the disallowance of some 5.4 billion cedis of claims. These are fictitious claims that would otherwise have had to be paid but for the eagle eye of the Auditor General. Can you imagine what we can do with 5.4 billion cedis? It can certainly finance the free SHS for 5 years. Corruption is not a partisan matter, and we must all act to protect the public purse. In the words of the first president of the Fourth Republic, His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, and I quote, "Combating corruption is not beyond us. Imagine the effect on our nation and our future if, for just a few months, all decent Ghanaians would have put aside their own convenience, apathy, and faint-heartedness and challenged every corruption, no matter how petty, which comes their way," unquote. With the Office of the Special Prosecutor now in place, we can expect more prosecutions for corruption in the public in the coming months. And public officials, past and present, should be on notice that they will be held accountable for their stewardship of our public finances. Government has also made, in 2017, significant savings of some 800 million cedis in government procurement as we depart from sole sourcing as the primary method of public procurement. That departure will strengthen our public finances and make it possible for us to finance our development ourselves. There is, however, one piece of the anti-corruption framework that is yet to be put in place: the Right to Information Bill. It would increase transparency and add another critical weapon to the armory in the fight against corruption. After many years of hesitation, we intend to bring a bill again to Parliament and work to get it passed into law before the end of this meeting of Parliament. The protection of the public purse is a social common good, and it depends on all of us. It is in all our interest that corruption does not thrive and we police each other's behavior. Going beyond aid means Ghanaians should not serve as fronts for foreign companies to defraud our country. It will mean we all pay our taxes as provided by law, and it will mean we all help to take care of government property as though it were our own. Fellow Ghanaians, getting our country to a situation beyond aid means we add value to our exports and stop the export of materials such as cocoa, gold, bauxite, manganese, and oil in their raw state. Our cocoa farmers, for example, get less than 10% of the value of a bar of chocolate, and yet cocoa is the main ingredient. On the world market, bauxite in its raw form is worth about 42 United States dollars per metric ton. Processing it just one stage further into alumina oxide will fetch twice that amount. Refining the alumina oxide into alumina will increase the value by 7 times, and smelted aluminium fetches 100-fold what it gets in the raw state. Aluminium, we're told, is the metal of the future. It is for this reason that Ghana has, since independence, sought to establish an integrated bauxite and aluminum industry. Thus far, this has remained a fond hope, but we are determined to make it happen within the next 3 years. Work on the law establishing an integrated bauxite and aluminum development authority is far advanced and will be submitted to Parliament very shortly. Government also hopes to reach an agreement soon with potential partners to establish an alumina refinery and expand the Valco smelter. A successful execution of this project will be key in moving Ghana beyond aid, as will be the successful exploitation of our iron ore and manganese deposits to build a steel industry for our country and the region. We are all aware of the vast sums of illicit financial flows from our continent that attend the exploitation of our natural resources, especially of our mineral wealth. We can no longer continue to blame others for that. We have to take our destiny into our own hands and design and carry out the appropriate policies and measures that will ensure that we get our fair and proper share of the value of that wealth. Government will be rolling out such policies as an integral part of our determination to move Ghana beyond aid. Fellow Ghanaians, we have huge infrastructure needs in the areas of roads, bridges, water, electricity, housing, hospitals, and schools. The problem has always been where to find the money. However, where there is a will, there is a way. My government is going to implement an alternative financing model to leverage our bauxite reserves in particular to finance a major infrastructure program across Ghana. This will probably be the largest infrastructure program in Ghana's history without any addition to Ghana's debt stock. It will involve the barter or exchange of refined bauxite for infrastructure. We expect to conclude this agreement and start its implementation this year. This will represent a paradigm shift in the financing of our development priorities and make it possible for Ghana to move beyond aid. Ladies and gentlemen, we now live in a digital world, and to be competitive, we have to be a part of and then take advantage of digitization. Since assuming office last year, we have undertaken deliberate policy reforms to digitize Ghana, to formalize our economy, and leapfrog in some key areas. The National Identification and Address System, the driver's license and vehicle registration, the paperless operation at the ports, interoperability of payment system in the financial sector are all geared towards modernizing our economy, and we should begin to feel the difference when all these measures become operational this year. I'm looking forward particularly to the digitization of the land registration process to help the mortgage market and help release hundreds of billions of cedis to finance our development. Digitization would also allow the delivery of education and health services to remote areas, reduce corruption, expand the tax base, expand e-commerce, make credit more available as uncertainty is reduced for financial institutions, and increase domestic resource mobilization. Fellow Ghanaians, at its core, the poverty gap is a technology gap. The mastery of technology is what, at the end of the day, separates developed from developing countries, or rich from poor countries. This is a gap we have to bridge. We are laying a strong foundation for an educated and skilled workforce of the future through the free senior high school program, which this academic year enabled 90,000 additional young Ghanaians to enroll in SHS. These are our future scientists, engineers, modern farmers, innovators, entrepreneurs, and transformation agents. In the years ahead, the principal thrust of national development policy must be to ensure that science, technology, and innovation drive all sectors of the economy. We are going to commit resources to basic and applied science and engineering that should result in the development of our capacity to manufacture machinery, equipment, and component parts for industry, agriculture, especially machinery for planting, harvesting, and processing of produce. Fellow Ghanaians, as a government committed to the growth of the private sector, we believe that the private sector should be the critical partner in moving Ghana beyond aid. In truth, part of our problem has been that government tries to do too much, tries to take on far too much beyond its capacity. There are many projects in roads, railways, water transport, agriculture, etc., which, if properly structured, will attract private sector financing. Key to attracting private sector investment is a conducive, business-friendly, and peaceful environment. My dear fellow Ghanaians, all these plans and big dreams I have outlined will come to naught if we do not have peace in our country. The primary requirement for prosperity is peace. The first obligation on any government is to ensure the safety and security of the citizenry. As your president, this is an obligation I accept, and I am determined to discharge faithfully. The recent spate of armed robberies is totally unacceptable. I will work to ensure the citizens are able to go about their daily duties in the confidence that they are safe. No miscreant will have the space to terrorize citizens and generate a sense of insecurity in our country. The police have the primary responsibility of maintaining peace and keeping law and order in our society, and in exceptional cases, with the backing of the armed forces. The government is doing and will do whatever it takes to enable the police discharge their duties effectively. We are providing the means for them to modernize their equipment and learn modern methods of policing, and their numbers will be rapidly increased to match our growing population and the sophistication and audacity of the criminals. We should not forget that the police need the help and support of the community to be able to do their work. We dare not lose our reputation as a haven of peace and security. I urge you all to join in making sure that there is no hiding place in our midst for those who would disturb our peace. For my part, I will do whatever is necessary within the confines of the Constitution and the laws of the land to ensure the peace of our country. Let us, on this joyful occasion, salute the leadership and the gallant men and women of our security forces who in the various operations, Calm Life, Cowleg, and Vanguard, are putting their lives on the line to protect our environment and guarantee our safety and security. They are patriots indeed. Fellow Ghanaians, Ghana Beyond Aid is meant to be more than a slogan. It is meant to propel us into the frame of mind that will quicken the pace of our development. It is meant to change our mindset from one of dependency to one of achieving our destiny. It is meant to put us in charge of our own affairs and make us truly independent. Above all, Ghana Beyond Aid will give us the respect and dignity we deserve. Let us believe in ourselves. Let us believe in Ghana and in Mother Africa. God bless us all. God bless Africa. God bless our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your anniversary address.
Right!
61 years old, and Ghana is still heavily dependent on aid. But President Akufo-Addo says no more.
We want to build a Ghana Beyond Aid.
We shall now have the yell by the Forces Sergeant Major, Master Warrant Officer Ramos Baka.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. May I please have your permission to hail the troops, Mr. President?
Forces Sergeant Major, Chief Warrant Officer Ramos Baka.
And all the good people of Ghana on our first independent anniversary.
it was a powerful year.
Color party will have to move off before the remainder of the parade can march off. So it's more of a tradition that you don't march off the parade with the color party on board. So you have to first march off the color party before the rest of the party can march off.
Color party to march off. Sadikem, what are some of the points you remember from the president's speech? He spoke for well over 40 minutes. And then he spoke about a variety of issues.
Yes, and key among the issues he spoke about, he did mention Ghana Beyond Aid and the need for Ghana to be able to raise revenue. He mentioned that one of the key things that his government will be doing is to leverage on our bauxite reserves for barter or exchange for infrastructure. And we know that a lot of the aid that Ghana goes in for goes into infrastructural development. He also talked about corruption and commending the Auditor General for doing due diligence and the report as well that exposed some acts of corruption.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be reminded that as the colors march past, all are to rise and personnel in uniform are to pay compliments.
General has been doing in terms of identifying areas where there are revenue leakages so that those revenue leakages can be blocked. He said the amount of money that has been able to be saved from some of the contracts would be enough to sustain the free senior high school program for a number of years if we continue to be able to save the government those amounts of money.
Okay, now let's watch the colors being matched off. So these colors are representative of what?
We have the Ghana flag of the whole nation, then we have the Army color, we have the Navy ensign, then we have the Air Force color. The three services constitute the Ghana Armed Forces, and of course it's a national parade, and so we have the flag, the Ghana flag itself of parade. And so they would march off before the rest of the contingent can march off from the parade.
And we are also told that for everyone in uniform, including people like yourself, when the colors are being marched off, it is incumbent to pay homage to them.
Exactly, because they are very sacred. They are kept in a very special place in our messes. And per tradition, those carrying the colors, afterwards, they are supposed to be given something like a strong alcohol, because they are brave men who have carried the colors of the parade and they are carrying it back. It has a very rich cultural background.
Right, so we see different colors. So which ones signify which specific?
The colors must not have the same color. The colors is like for want of a better word, it's a flag that represents a particular unit or a service.
Right.
And it is given only by the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. A unit cannot just get up and have its own colors. And then in those days when we're going on battle, after every battle that they win, they come to inscribe the battle honors on the colors. So when they carry it, they are not just carrying it for today, they are also causing us to remember the past, what people did for us to be where we are today. So most of them will have maybe the wars that we undertook inscribed in them. So they are revered, they are sacred. Yes, but they have different colors in terms of the word color. Yeah.
Interesting there. And so we've just seen the colors marched off, and the parade commander taking his position, I believe, to
National salute. Brigade.
Shall we please rise for the presidential salute? Please be seated. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for our dignitaries to depart. Starting with the President of the Republic of Ghana and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his spouse. Ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of today's ceremony held at the Black Star Square. I have been your MC, Squadron Leader Francisca Aholo from the Directorate of Public Relations of the Ghana Armed Forces. I have been running the country with Ms. Cassandra Chum Ampofo, the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Education Service. I would like to inform you that tomorrow, Wednesday, 7th March 2018, is the Ghana Armed Forces Open Day. It is open to the general public, and we entreat each and every Ghanaian to take the opportunity to visit the garrisons all over the country and learn more about the military. I would like to acknowledge the members of the Planning Committee for the immense effort put into making this parade a success. I wish to also acknowledge the immense contribution of the Forces Sergeant Major and his team, the Sergeant Majors of the Ghana Army, the Ghana Navy, the Ghana Air Force, and their counterparts in sister security.
The President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and First Lady, Madam Rebecca Akufo-Addo, departing the 61st Independent Anniversary celebration. All should please and kindly wait upstairs for the departure formalities. After the departure of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, special guest of honor, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, will also depart. After His Excellency the President leaves, His Excellency the Vice President will depart immediately after. Republic. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, will leave. After that, we'll also have the departure of the former president and also the prime minister we have here. The formality would be the departure of the former president, Jerry John Rawlings, and that will be followed by the departure of former President John Agyekum Kufuor. Parting now is the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana and spouse, Madam Lady Samira. Please be reminded that all VIPs should remain standing as we observe departure formalities. The President of the Republic is leaving the Independence Square at the moment.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please may I
Ahen have been with me in commentary position. We are about to wrap up now as the dignitaries begin to leave. But what would be your closing remarks, Wanda?
Thank you so much. We are 61 years old, and as individuals, we all need to work and brighten the corner where
61 years old, and Ghana is still heavily dependent on aid. But President Akufo-Addo says no more.
We want to build a Ghana beyond aid. A Ghana which is independent, which is self-sufficient, that is capable of standing on its own feet and building its own life. We can do it.
Is it too lofty an idea, or is it time the country rallied together to break free?
There is a new African in the world. That new
Right. Well, we're back, and it's been a long 2 hours, I think.
Oh, more.
Yeah, well, if you count from the time we got here.
Okay, so let's say like 10. The president arrived exactly a minute to 10.
Yeah, it's about
and,
3 hours plus.
About 3
so
hours.
Nearly 3 hours, because it's about
it's 1:27
now.
Indeed.
Yes, and it's been wonderful having you with us. Did you hear anything new from the president?
Well, I don't think it was, I mean, he didn't say nothing new per se. Basically reminding us of all of the things that he's, told us in the past and even in recent times. I mean, he speaks to the fact that we owe it as a responsibility for instance to ensure our own security as citizenry. So these are some of the. He definitely touched on corruption.
Yeah, the economy.
Yeah,
he did.
Every aspect, as always.
And he also reminded us he has unveiled the design for the National Cathedral,
which is going to cause a lot of conversations.
I know.
We already started this morning.
I know.
We want to know how much that cathedral is going to cost us, where the money is coming from. So those issues are there, and is it necessary?
Yeah.
So
those are questions the president will be answering.
Indeed.
Over the course of the week.
Yeah. He still reminded us that he's a man in a hurry, but he's also a realistic man. So I guess he's tempering that statement that he made recently. I'm in a hurry, but I'm also realistic. So I guess the longer he sits in the seats, the more aware he is of the situation in Ghana. So you may have the big lofty plans, but you've got to temper them with realism. So I guess
he was as well consistent with the issues of the values that guide us or should guide us as a country. So this is something that he said before. Again,
we're glad he's a consistent man.
Indeed, it's good when every now and then you get the reminders. You know, so yes, thank you once again, Mr. President. Basically, he's talking about the fact that Ghana Beyond Aid is pursuing that path of prosperity, and it behoves on all of us to ensure that that actually happens.
Okay. Has it not got boring how the event is organized each and every year?
Parade, right?
Yeah, the parade.
As long as I can remember from primary school in the 80s, it's been this, Those times we didn't used to watch, we didn't used to listen to the speeches, but the marching is the same, the fly past, the horses, the screaming sergeant majors.
I have actually done, I have participated.
Oh, okay, you have?
Yes, before.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Once as a cadet member of Martin DeParis School, and then as a pupil of the school as well, at 2 occasions, I think.
Wow.
It was a big deal. Everybody, wanted to get that opportunity to be in there, to be at, the Independence
You did
Square,
rehearsals before?
Oh, a lot of rehearsals.
Wow.
A lot of rehearsals. The only
somehow
difference...
I've always thought of it as some form of a punishment for children in the
because
school.
they stand,
in the sun.
Did you feel punished? Did you feel punished?
I didn't feel like that at all. It was, for us, it was like an honor to be there. It gets you closer. It gets you closer to the president. You get to
you can
see
catch a glimpse of him.
You know what I'm saying? But I noticed something today. I don't know if it's just today or it's happened before, but the fact that today, after marching past, the school children had to go and sit down instead of staying on the sun.
It was deliberate.
So it's the first time it's happening.
Yes, first time it's happening.
At least it's something different.
Something has changed. But what's with the taekwondo?
Guys, thank you so much for watching. That's our coverage. We'll see you later. My name is Kafui Day.
Mine is Kemini Amano.
And I'm Beswa Dona Hamon. We're back tomorrow morning. Be sure to join us. 6 on the dot. I know. Your regular host, your TV host, that will be here with GH today, and we'll be live right here.
Big
on
surprise
GH1
tomorrow.
TV.
Big surprise.
Happy Independence. Enjoy the holiday. Goodbye.
Okay then. Bye-bye. Happy 61.
I go TV, on a penya nyama papa. I go TV, I go TV, I go TV in Semper Fi.
MTV Unplugged are pleased to have him here to record this album visually, and we're going to hear it audio. So I'd like you to make some real noise for the star of tonight, Unplugged Gentleman. Make some noise!